Good afternoon. I call to order the zoning meeting for the Knox County Commission for Monday, June 16th, 2025. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Durrett.
Present.
Commissioner Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Russell. Here. Commissioner Hill. Here. Commissioner Lee. Commissioner Thompson. Here. Commissioner Fox. Commissioner Jay.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
We do. Yeah, we do have all commissioners here. They're just some stepped away. Let's see, do we have any elected officials in the room? I don't see anyone. I would like to introduce our junior commissioners from last year. It was Audrey Zanders with Commissioner Durrett, Libya Graves with Commissioner Jay, Pierce Brouchard is out in the audience, and then Commissioner Hill has a guest, Maxwell Anders. Welcome. And if I can turn it over now to the for the Pledge of Allegiance for Commissioner Jay.
If you would, please stand and render a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll now turn it over to Director Moyers to swear in the applicants.
All right, if you're here to speak to this board on any item on the agenda, either for or against, please stand and raise your right hand. If you're an applicant or if you're here in opposition, if you're planning to speak to this board, please stand and raise your right hand. There we go. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Be seated, please.
Thank you. Amendments to the agenda. Are there any questions or discussions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Durrett, second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of previous meeting. Questions or discussions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept. Second.
I have a motion made by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Our public forum, these are for agenda items only, so when we get to the agenda, that's when I'll call the names of the people that have signed up to speak. Madam Clerk, if you will read the first item, please.
Item number 1 is 5-H-25-RZ. It's a request of Doran Meon for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential. Properties located at 2715 Bakertown Road, parcel ID 105204 in the 3rd Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Aye. If you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please. And you got to turn the button on. Just, there you go. Perfect.
Doran Mywin, and the address I think is 2715 Bakertown Road.
Okay. I don't have anybody signed up in opposition, seeing no one in the audience. Director Brooks?
Sorry about that. Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development.
Thank you. We have had a discussion, but would you like to share just a little bit with the commission what you plan on doing on the property?
We're just trying to subdivide it for now and trying to see if we can get a couple lots in there.
Okay.
Right now, it's I think agriculture, so we just want to, build couple
Okay.
dwellings there. We're not sure yet what we're going to do. So
Okay. Perfect, thank you. Commission, I am going to approve the RA zone because it's consistent with Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development. I will be adding a condition, require a surveyor to verify adequate site distance for any new or modified driveways. The reason I'm adding that condition is because we need to have site distance. Bakertown can be kind of squirrely
yes,
right
I already. Sorry about that. I already spoke with the surveyor. He told me that if in order to have a driveway, I would have to, for the lots in the back or something, I would have to go all the way down on the right because it's close to that road, so I have to have so much distance from the
Okay.
other road.
Okay,
So
you'll
we're-
just get him to verify that and get that
Okay.
sent over to Knox County Engineering, we'll be good, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
All right, do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion on the floor by Oster, second by Frazier. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 2 is 5-E-25-PA, a request of Gabriella Sharman for a comprehensive plan amendment from CI Civic and Institutional to CMU Corridor Mixed Use. The property is located at 9048 Middlebrook Pike, parcel ID 105OC026, part of, in the 3rd Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Hi. If you'll come and give your name and address for the record, please. There we go.
Corey Griffiths at 9048 Middlebrook Pike.
Okay. There's no one signed up in opposition. Anyone in the audience? Seeing none, Director Brooks?
Let's try this one. There we go. Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the CMU corridor mixed-use place type for the portion of the property shown on the agenda map because it's compatible with the surrounding development and the intent of the comprehensive plan by a vote of 13-0.
Thank you. And we have spoken, but would you like to share a little bit about what you're wanting to do?
We're just looking to replace the sign out at the front of the property and hoping to have the freedom to kind of match the requirements of the surrounding properties around us.
Perfect. I will let commissioners know this is along Middlebrook Pike, so it is mostly down through that area commercial. So I think that we're good on that, and I'm comfortable with that. So I will make a motion to approve the CMU place type for the portion of the property shown on the agenda map because it's compatible with the surrounding development and intent of the comprehensive plan.
Second?
Got a motion on the floor by Oster, second by Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Don't go anywhere. Next item, please.
Item number 3, 5-L-25-RZ, is also a request of Gabriella Sharman. It's for rezoning from RA low-density residential to CA general business, and the property description is the same as the previous item.
Thank you. There is nobody signed up, no one in the audience. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the CA general business zone for the portion of the property shown on the agenda map because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Okay, you don't want to add anything else?
No,
All
same
right. Any questions? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve the CA zone for the portion of the property shown on the agenda map because it is consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Second?
Got a motion on the floor by Oster, second by Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is number 4. It's 5-Q-25-RZ, a request of Taylor D. Forrester for rezoning from A agricultural to PR plan residential up to 10 dwelling units per acre. Properties located at 1439, 1445, 1447 Ebenezer Road, parcel ID 144-096-097-095, part of, in the 4th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Present.
Thank you. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes. Taylor Forrester, 1111 North Shore Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37919.
Thank you. We do have opposition signed up for this. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR plan residential zone up to 10 dwellings per acre because it's compatible with the surrounding development and consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Mr. Forster, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Here on behalf of the property owner, this property consists of, it's 3 separate parcels, and as noted, there's an existing veterinarian clinic that we've carved out. In discussion with staff, we initially submitted for the PR for the entire 3 parcels, but realizing that that would create a non-conforming use with the PR zoning and the continued operation of the veterinarian clinic. So we've carved that out. This land use designation is suburban residential. PR is considered a partially related zoning under the suburban residential at a density of anywhere from 1 to 2 dwelling units an acre up to 12 dwelling units an acre. The property owner is seeking to rezone the property in order to develop a townhouse development on these tracts here. had a lot of discussion about it in meeting and considering the options and what would make sense here, considering the area, what type of infrastructure would exist, across the street in reasonable proximity. As you recall, as part of the advanced Knox process, there was a focus on preserving the rural areas and supporting density in areas that had, the adequate infrastructure that where it made sense, whether it's infill density or just areas that were already served with adequate utilities. Again, the roads were suitable for denser types of development. Obviously, when you're reducing development and density allowed in the rural areas, that's going to leave a shortage that to even consider be on the same path moving forward, it has to be made up somewhere else. Obviously, we are well aware of the housing shortage and the need for more available units online to be purchased, to be lived in based on the growing population of Knox County. Again, a key focus when considering development and density associated with it is the existing infrastructure that's in place. Here on this part of Ebenezer, there's 5 lanes. On each side of Ebenezer, there's wide sidewalks that continue for considerable distance. Also, you have immediately across the street, as it's noted on the map there, there's a commercial development there with, I know it has at least 2 restaurants in it and 2 or 3 other businesses. That's a more recent approval. So again, considering location, what's around it, you've got commercial immediately in the vicinity. There's other commercial nodes and areas in either direction. There's an elementary school, Bluegrass Elementary, approximately, say, 1 block to the south. Again, part of that advanced Knox process and one of the key policies was housing options and a wide range of different types of options. Obviously, this area does have a lot of detached single-family. We think a growing market demand for a townhouse type of development definitely makes sense here. This property obviously has a lot of frontage that extends along Ebenezer, which provides, even more support for a townhouse type of development where you have, if you consider that obviously more intensive use than your traditional single family, it would serve as a buffer between, Ebenezer Drive, which has the 5 lanes, and then the single family residential neighborhoods that are located to the rear of this property. As mentioned previously, as part of the comprehensive plan, one of the, I think it's implementation policy 5 is to support developments where several amenities are located. As I mentioned, the commercial across the school and the proximity of the Ebenezer Elementary School, which is, like I said, about a block away. As noted, the staff report, planning staff did support this request. We met with staff and discussed our plans here and our proposed density and the type of development that we wanted to occur here. I've got, this is just conceptual purposes of what, not necessarily what these units would look like, these townhouses, but just kind of to create a visual, to kind of offer shed some light on the type of units that we're considering here. They'd be 2-story townhouse units, and again, think it's appropriate infill density where there's adequate infrastructure and other amenities to support it. I'm very familiar with this area. I live off the North Shore, not too far from here, and frequent this area. Traffic is not an issue. I believe there's maybe even some infrastructure improvements that are going to occur at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first speaker is Laura Repka. She's not here? Okay. Megan Potts. Ms. Potts, if you'll give your name and address for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you. My name is Megan Potts. My address is 8845 Mallow Drive in Bexhill subdivision. I'm grateful that you all have this map up here because you can see that all the surrounding parcels are single dwelling units. 97% of the Ebenezer corridor is developed, with 90% of those developments being 3 units or fewer per acre. My neighbors and I feel that 10 units an acre is too high a density and is not compatible with the surrounding units. As you can see, and if you zoom out, the picture is even greater with the units or with the neighborhoods that are there. Becks Hill, Willow Bend Estates, Morton Villas condos, Highbury Way, Bluegrass Bend, and Weston Place are all single dwelling units with up to 3 an acre. We see 5 units an acre, but very few on the Ebenezer corridor. Mr. Forrester brought up the schools that's a block away. I realize that this is not in your purview as commissioners, but that school is overcrowded, grossly overcrowded. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I know that's the school board's responsibility. From the planning report, it would be an additional 679 trips from those units leaving. And as you can see, the intersection at Becks Hill and Gatwick Drive surrounding that commercial development, if you're turning left out of those intersections, it's dangerous. And in the traffic study that was done, both of those intersections received a D or lower for leaving the area. My neighbors and I are not unreasonable. We know that the property can be developed. We're just asking you that it's fewer than 10 units per acre. And I heard Mr. Forrester say it was up to 12. So we would like to see it compatible with the surrounding area. That's what we're asking you, is to follow what Planning Commission has stated is required for rezoning. And that's that it's compatible with the surrounding area, doesn't have a negative impact on the community, and it would. I use that road to run. My neighbors use that road to walk on, walk their children to school. It would be a significant safety issue for more units, 65 units, to be in that space. I would also ask that you all consider your role as county commissioners to preserve the established character of the community, because Ebenezer Corridor is a long-established community, and the character that we're trying to protect is that we have reasonable development. 65 units on that piece of land is not compatible with the surrounding area, and I would ask that you all decrease the number of units per acre, please.
Thank you, Ms. Potts. Last speaker on this is Mallory Matula. Not here? Okay. All right. Mr. Forrester, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I guess just briefly as to the existing development that's in the area. You know, obviously that was all developed out prior to the new adoption of the comprehensive land use plan. Some of those developments 20, maybe 30 years old, and you know, at that time, operating under this sector plan in place, the maximum density that something could be developed was at 5 units an acre. So again, operating under the new comprehensive land use plan, that would be our basis of why 10 makes sense here, the distinction being that that was under an old plan and development that occurred years upon years ago. Thank you.
Do any commissioners have any questions or comments? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question about the school issue. What's the expected addition to the school population?
So in the staff report, it notes an estimated student yield of 27 students, K through 12. Obviously, elementary school is, I guess, K through 5. So my opinion, that would be a negligible increase when you consider that yield is factored across 3 different school brackets.
Do you have a response to the point of, that this would be outside of the community character? If you take a larger view of the entire community, this is you're requesting much higher density than, 3 per acre, 5 per acre.
I don't think it's out of character when you consider the area as a whole. Like I said, you got the commercial down the street. There's other new developments going in. One close to the elementary school. There's a multifamily going in on that property. Again, I think a attributable distinction here is the fact of being right on Ebenezer versus accessing a neighborhood through like a boulevard type entrance off of Ebenezer or some other road from Ebenezer going into a subdivision. It's direct access frontage, pretty much the entire length of the tracks. Thank you.
Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first want to thank Commissioner Jackson for hosting a community meeting, and I want to apologize to those who were in attendance. I was out of town, but I've been following this request very closely, and I do have several comments. First, community character was among the top 4 priorities expressed by participants in the advanced Knox process. The adjacent community character is at most 4.5 units per acre. More than doubling that to 10 units per acre, in my opinion, is out of character and form with existing built-out single-family residential development. The Ebenezer Road corridor from Westland to Bluegrass encompasses approximately 645 acres. As Ms. Potts stated, 97% of that corridor has been developed. And of those, 90% is built out at 3 units or less and is single-family detached residential in character. Next, while we would like to allow and encourage greater density where appropriate and as proposed, our zoning and subdivision regulations don't yet have design standards for making more dense housing compatible to existing single-family residential developments. Our ordinances were written back in the 60s, and this is another example of how old zoning ordinances can be in conflict with the new plan, thus making it critically important to review closely each rezoning request. The UDO will hopefully address this, but because the zoning regulation today doesn't provide that, and Planning Commission has repeatedly stated that they are not willing to impose requirements on development plans that aren't explicitly in the zoning ordinance, I cannot support the requested density. Another point, the suburban residential place type allows rezoning considerations of up to 12 units per acre. That is a major change from the prior equivalent low-density residential, which allowed up to 5 units per acre. This further exemplifies that until our zoning ordinances are updated, we are going to see some conflict between the new plan and old zoning ordinances. Yes, supportive infrastructure is in place, but aligning the density would not be considered sprawl in this area. No parks in walking or biking distance. That means middle and high school students will have to ride buses or be driven by cars. The rezoning request creates an irregularly shaped remaining lot of the animal hospital, which in the future could be problematic. Further, I would like to see the rezoning request limited to only single-family detached or single-family attached because it is most compatible and appropriate. Lastly, the Knox County Commission, we are not responsible for maximizing property value. We are responsible for making good planning decisions, and I'm just not convinced that 10 per acre is a good fit here.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Turn it over to Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Forrester, for putting together the community meeting. That is not something that is required by any means, and it's something I asked of Mr. Forrester to do for the community. And I learned, several things that are going on in the community. And as was mentioned, we've got the 3 top things that were complained about were schools, the speed of traffic, and not fitting with the community. So let me just discuss. I met with Catherine Bike with the school board regarding the overcrowded Bluegrass schools. There's 3 things that are going on that are going to alleviate some of the pressure of Bluegrass. And yes, it is it is crowded, just like a lot of our schools in our county. We have a lot of people moving in, but this is a macroeconomic issue that we're dealing in the county, is that we have more graduating seniors than we do incoming kindergartners. So we actually have a shrinking population slightly in our Knox County schools. Second thing is that we are building right now the Farragut Elementary School, which will rezone, a lot of our school zone, and it will take a little bit of pressure off of Bluegrass. And then, Mr. Snowden, I wanted to ask you about the infrastructure. Do we have adequate infrastructure for this development? I know Advanced Knox was all about making sure that we developed with higher density along the thoroughfares and major arterial roads, as long as there is adequate infrastructure. Can you talk about that and the speed of traffic and any accidents?
Sure, be glad to, Commissioner Jackson. Yeah, Ebenezer Road, I believe it's a minor arterial in our system. When a lot of those subdivisions, Bexhill, Bennington, Granada were built, this road was 2-lane. That's really the growth around this is why that in the mid-90s, the county did invest a lot of money and improved it to 5-lane. On the south end, the road carries about 13,000 cars a day. Near this location, it's carrying about 16,000. And then as you get close to Kingston Pike, it's close to 20,000. And those are big numbers, but based on the lane capacities, we don't foresee that to be based on, I think, if they fully developed, there'd be, somebody said, 60-some units, give or take. That's roughly 700 trips. I don't foresee that creating any issues that would present from a volume capacity perspective. The crashes, we did look at that pretty closely. There have been some pretty severe crashes out there, but weighing those against those volumes, we look at what's called a crash rate, and that crash rate is the state publishes average crash rates based on, okay, this road looks like this. It has so many lanes. It has a certain character to it. This road here actually has a less than average statewide rate. So the state would assume that there's going to be so many crashes on this road. We actually, based on the crashes we looked at over the last 3 to 5 years, that crash rate's half that. So we actually did some speed studies out there. The operating speed is around 46 miles an hour. I believe it's posted 40, I think. I believe that's correct. So, we like to see that operating speed within about 5 miles an hour of the posted speed limit. So that was a good sign for us. So based on the objective data that we look at, volume, crashes, and speed, I do not see that the addition of these lots as proposed would create significant challenges to the roadway as it exists today.
Thank you. One of the things, we had during the meeting, and people came up to me and have called me, I've had numerous calls and emails, and the common question I get is, why does this development have to be here? And let me be honest, I hear that with every district and in every school zone. Why does it have to be here? Why can't it be in another district? And that is a common and understandable reaction. But if we always say not here, then we leave ourselves open to never saying yes. So let me talk about Ebenezer Road. I drive it all the time. I live in 4th District. It is a 5-lane arterial road with a turn lane. It's already equipped with all the infrastructure, and it can build to handle thousands more cars. It's built to equip the same traffic that Kingston Pike has. And let me say this clearly to my other commissioners. We recently approved 2 developments in Commissioner Lee's district for similar density, but those were on 2-lane road. And in Commissioner Hill, we zoned at 10 per acre, just like this one. The difference is both of those were on much lesser traveled roads with less infrastructure. So for me to vote against this project in my own district with better infrastructure in place is disingenuous to my other commissioners. I wouldn't ask my fellow commissioners to support something in their districts that I would not support in mine. And remember, if we say no to development where infrastructure already exists, the need for housing doesn't go away. We just push it farther out. We cause more sprawl, longer commutes, and more expensive infrastructure. Meanwhile, housing becomes less affordable. Right now, a median income household can only afford 15% of the homes on the market here. That's not sustainable. We've already seen what happens when communities shut down growth. Loudoun and Morgan counties, they have anti-growth policies. And now they've had to raise their property taxes well above Knox County just to keep up. That's the cost of saying no. I want Knox County to grow with intention. That's why I support requiring, as we get into this UDO, additional green space, making sure we have adequate pocket parks when we have high density, and reforestation in new developments. But as Commissioner Frazier pointed out, we're not there yet. We can grow and still preserve what our community feels like home. William Faulkner said it wrote in The Sound and the Fury that clocks slay time. Only when the clock stops does time come to life. Freezing time does not protect a place. It will only hold us back. As a commissioner, I want to err on the side of being welcoming and inclusive to my neighbors and my new neighbors who want to live here. I want to work on supporting policies that strengthen our tax base and not weaken it, and that lessens the burden on existing taxpayers. Leadership means taking the long view. It was easy for me to vote no to this when I had people yelling at me and calling me and emailing me. But that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here because my daughter won't move back to Knoxville because the housing here is so much more expensive than other areas. I want to do what's best for the families that are here now, but also the families that will be here in 50 years. That takes courage, and I'm committing to leading with that courage. With that said, I do want to add I'm going to make a motion for this, but I'm going to add a couple of requirements here. Is that, one of the issues that I do have is that there's not adequate green space. When you have dense development, there needs to be somewhere for children to go, even if it's a small pocket park. And I want to require the zoning change to require the development of a quarter-acre private pocket park, dedicated private amenity for the use and enjoyment of residents and property owners. The applicant is to design, construct, and convey to the HOA a quarter-acre pocket park within the development, subject to the following conditions: that it will occupy a minimum of a quarter acre, 10,890 square feet, and it will be situated to ensure convenient access for residents within the development. And then also, I want to make sure that we have a barrier to protect from other subdivisions, and I want to require that we plant green giants 6 feet off-center as a barrier on each side.
I'll second that, but with a clarification on the pocket park. So that is it just green space, or is there playground equipment? Like what do you consider a pocket park?
Well, so I've gone back and forth on this, and I think I would like to leave it up to the HOA to make that decision.
So essentially just a quarter acre of green space for them to
Quarter-acre
decide.
green space.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make sure that the body understands my perspective on this. As I stated, I agree there is supportive infrastructure in place. That's not my argument. My argument is that through Advanced Knox, we heard more about maintaining and preserving community character and aligning intentional development with existing built-out, long-time residential development. And so I'm coming from a perspective of I'm for development on this piece of property. I'm just not in support of the density. And I think you can accomplish that by reducing the density. You still get housing. You can still include your conditions, but it aligns in character and form. So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question for Commissioner Jackson. The HOA is not constituted until the development is done. So we've talked about this before. I'm always concerned about putting specific conditions about what your vision for a park is versus anyone else's. And the HOA, if that condition stays on there of a quarter acre of private green space, whoever develops that will leave a quarter of an acre of grass, maybe. And then one day, after they're long gone and all those homes have been sold and they turn it over to the HOA, then your intention is you hope that the HOA will go, great, we got a quarter acre of land, let's put some benches and some playground equipment, which I think would be lovely. But they have no requirement to do it either, and you're gonna put a financial burden immediately on the homeowners to put in infrastructure. Does that, this is why we've struggled with like reforestation plans, and like if we have a policy that says you must do X, that's one thing for the developer or the property owner or whoever will be the owner, but if we don't, so if you're okay with a quarter of an acre of grass just being set aside.
So let me just ask Mr. Snowden, is this enforceable?
What is enforceable? A acre of grass, a quarter acre of grass, or that they have to have a playground and 2 benches?
Well, based on that, we would require at least a quarter acre of open space. I mean, that would be the enforceable part, yes.
Yeah, and when we get through the Unified Development Ordinance, hopefully we will have everything written down that specifies what would be required. But, as of right now, like Commissioner Frazier said, we don't have it in place yet. But I do believe that it's upon this body that we have the right and the ability to write in certain things that our community needs. And our community, this area is a park desert. There's no real parks anywhere nearby. This is just something that we can provide, just a little bit of green space.
Okay, so your motion is to approve at 10 units an acre with a tree buffer, which is something we do all the time between the north and south and west neighborhoods?
Correct.
So 3 sides, and setting aside a quarter acre of green space to be figured out what it's gonna be way down the road, but it's a quarter acre of grass.
I'll leave that up to the developer, and I think if a developer is going to be building nice things, he would want to provide something that's a nice amenity to the subdivision, and we'll see what that person does.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is one that I've kind of struggled with, or not struggled with, but gone back and forth. Because obviously, I'm frequently dealing with rezonings, and they come, and some are contested, some are not, but when they're contested, it gets to be pretty touchy. And we'll have a couple later. But to echo Commissioner Frazier's sentiment about the character of the area, looking at it, yes, it is not 10 units an acre built out. But you do have the infrastructure. And so if everything was built out to similar density, you have the infrastructure where I'm constantly dealing with, we don't have places to shop, we don't have places to work. People have to drive 30, 45 minutes to get to work. They have to ride a bus 30, 45 minutes to get to school. They have to drive to go walk somewhere. We don't have an overabundance of parks in the 8th District either. We have a total of really 2 major grocery stores, 20 miles one end to the other. But yet, month after month, we say, oh, we need more housing. Oh, it makes sense to put it here. Let's put it in the 8th. This particular location, where Ebenezer, according to Mr. Snowden, said this sees about 16,000 trips a day. As some of my colleagues would understand, the section of Washington Pike from Murphy Road to the interstates is about 20,000 trips per day, and that's a 2-lane road, right? But yet, we're still putting out housing and rezonings in Gibbs and down Washington Pike, right? Here it makes sense. There's places to shop. There's places, there's sidewalks. There's public transportation. There's places to, you know, yes, there are distances for parks, but you have everything else here. So why not put the higher density here? For me, the rub comes when you have, you know, the public and the neighbors engaged, and they said this is not characteristic. They're open, obviously, it'd be the pot calling the kettle black if they said, no, we don't want any development because everything else is developed. But I am struggling with the density a little bit as well, just because it's out of character.
May I make one comment, Madam Chair? So you know, it is correct. If you look at the, you know, surrounding neighborhoods, you know, that you definitely do have somewhere between 3 to 5. But if you go to if we were going south on Ebenezer there, you have a brand-new multifamily apartment complex going in. And then if you went north on Ebenezer, then you would eventually come to Westland Drive, where you also have hundreds of multifamily. So, you know, the area, Planning Commission did recommend that it does fit the area because density is moving into this area.
Commissioner Hill?
Thank you. I believe the speaker, Ms. Potts, I appreciate so much that you coming and having your say and having it so appropriately. And quite truthfully, the community meeting that we went to was anything but, as you know, and that's regretful. The truth of the matter is, the community members that were at that meeting are going to be mad at 5 per acre. They're just going to be mad. And that was very much the attitude I feel like was presented. Myself, Commissioner Oster, Commissioner Russell, and of course Commissioner Jackson were there, and I agree with you, Commissioner Frazier, that it's a lot, and I agree with you too that we are in such a no man's land in between what we're getting ready to do with our UDO, but we're not quite there yet. In the meantime, though, I do think there was a lot of thoughtful planning put in to the plan that we voted on, and it's been hard to support it because I've had to do it in my own district. I mean, just last month we voted on the 10 per acre, and there was nothing like it around there. So it's a tough pill to swallow. We do keep going back, though, to infrastructure in place. It doesn't get any better than Ebenezer Road. 4 lanes and a turn lane. It's got a sidewalk. It exits on one end to Kingston Pike, which is also 4 lanes, a turn lane, sidewalk. It exits the other end at North Shore, which I think at that particular area is also 5 lanes. So I mean, as far as that goes, that can't even, that's wonderful. In my neck of the woods, if we had that would be wonderful. So I do support this, not because I'm crazy about 10 units per acre. I support it because just on today's news, we had another article, another report about today we are 10,000 dwelling units short in our area. You can believe that or not, but I do support Commissioner Jackson. It's like, you know, you want your kids and grandkids to be able to stay here. And the truth is this townhouse community is exactly what our young people are drawn to anymore. And it does typically have a lower price point than a single family home does. So because it is a part of our new plan, even though the density does make me wobble a little bit, in my effort to try very hard to stick to the future growth plan, I do support this too.
Thank you. Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to point out, Commissioner Jackson, you just mentioned that you have new multifamily options in your district to the north and the south, correct? Yeah, correct, sure. I would also like to say that I live in a community that has experienced these types of challenges, where road capacity had not been met, and higher density was put into places that did not align in character and form. And I hear about it all the time, and I drive by it all the time. And I dislike it very much, and so do my neighbors. So if there are folks who are looking for products like this and densities like that, I encourage you to come out to Hardin Valley, move to the 6th District. This is just not appropriate here. And as I go back to say, yes, the infrastructure is there. I am not arguing that the infrastructure is not there to support it. It does not align in character and form, which was one of the top 4 priorities in Advanced Knox that we heard all across this county. So what I'm saying is maybe higher density is more appropriate in other areas in your district or in other districts, period. It doesn't mean that the product that could be the outcome of this request isn't going to happen somewhere else, because it's happening in my community. So those are other thoughts for consideration that I just wanted to bring up.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question about sidewalks for Director Snowden. I mean, there's sidewalks there right now. What's the obligation on the developer, if this were to be approved, to maintain this sidewalk access?
As far as, I mean, his internal subdivision or internal street, we wouldn't require sidewalks in there. We would obviously require him to, put an entrance in that maintained a safe crossing across the roadway, but he wouldn't be responsible for any sidewalks internal to his site per se, if that's what you're asking, sir.
I'm talking about going along Ebenezer, because there's sidewalks in, those stay.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any ask of the applicant to improve any sidewalk, because there is what we would consider to be adequate pedestrian facilities that are existing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having been in this particular position before, where you're looking at a piece of property and you can go higher density or lower density, and there's a lot of public engagement. We're talking about 6.5 acres. In the grand scheme of things, about a shortage of housing, 6.5 acres is not moving the needle one way or the other. Whether it's 10 units, 5 units, 1 unit, it's 6.5 acres. And so, Commissioner Jackson, you're sitting in a very peculiar position, because obviously the community is very engaged, and this will be one of many applications that will come across. And so you're the district commissioner. You know best of what suits your district the best. We don't. Applications come and go, and sometimes they don't go the way the applicant wants, and then there's another applicant that comes along for the same piece of property, and so it's really up to you what you feel is best in your district with this. So, but yeah, 6.5 acres. Commissioner Lee and I later on, we're going to have a couple that 40 plus acres combined that we're going to look at. And so, but none of it individually moves the needle one way or the other, particularly when we're looking at 6.5 acres, so.
Commissioner Fox?
I'd like to defer, and I'd like to hear Commissioner Russell's comments first, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes, I think everyone up here knows that typically I support 100% the district commissioner. I don't think I've really ever gone against a district commissioner, and I just think that is the they know the area best. On this particular one, I have a great deal of respect for Commissioner Jackson. I'm not going to oppose it, but in all good consciousness, I can't support it either, so I will be abstaining from voting on this because I just don't think that I can support 10 units an acre with so much community opposition.
Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like Commissioner Thompson, I've changed my mind like 3 times since we've been talking about this. And I acknowledge the statements by Commissioner Frazier. And of course, fundamentally, I am against high-density development. On the other hand, I know how frustrating it can be when you as the commissioner for your district think you know what's best for your district and then you get outvoted. So, and that's happened to me a number of times. So I think on that, and because Commissioner Jackson was elected by his constituents, that this is between him and them when it comes to, being accountable for this particular initiative. And so for that reason, I am going to be supporting Commissioner Jackson's motion.
Thank you. Can I just say something, Commissioner Jackson?
Just
before you
one
do?
thing,
Yeah,
and then
go
you
ahead.
can have it. I just wanted to tell everybody, if you want to know what my Bible is, it's called this book. It's called Stuck. And it's about how progressive liberals destroyed the upward mobility in California and New York City through having a small but vocal group of people who stop development. And when we stop development, it becomes, and they use the example of the West Village that they stopped development in the 1960s. The average apartment or townhome in the West Village now is $6.8 million, when in the 1960s, people who lived there were meat cutters and factory workers. And that is what happens when we become overly restrictive. And I was voted in, and I ran on a campaign of making sure that we increased our housing stock along our major thoroughfares, putting higher density along the major arterial roads, and protecting our existing neighborhoods off of the major arterial roads. This is 6 acres right on a 5-lane highway. It's a major arterial road. It fits the policy. It fits the plan. That's why I'm in favor of it.
I just want to say really quick, I want to thank Ms. Potts. You were very kind to speak, and you did very well. It was not an easy meeting for Commissioner Jackson. That was a tough one to cut your teeth on. But I'll be supporting this because it is along a major corridor. For maybe some people who aren't familiar with Ebenezer, you've got apartments, you've got restaurants, you've got shops, you've got office buildings, you have got, I think Weigel's is going in, you have, I think there's a child care down the street, if I'm correct. So I think with this property and where it's located, it makes the most sense to do this. And I know that the people aren't happy about it, and it's certainly not to go against them. It's just saying that this is what we're looking for in the areas that can handle this kind of traffic. And so, and we also, some people get kind of tied up on single family and that kind of stuff. Not everybody wants to be in a single family home. And we have to remember that. That's not our choice as commissioners to say it needs to be single family or not. And just my last statement is people are always saying we're making room for people moving here. I'm not necessarily trying to make room for people moving here. I'm trying to keep our people here. And that's a problem. And you can ask me that when I have 5 first-time buyers that can't buy anything because the prices are so high and it's not sustainable. So we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jackson and a second by Commissioner Durrett. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
I abstain with great respect for Commissioner
We have a
Jackson.
pass by Commissioner Russell and a no by Commissioner Frazier. The motion passes. Thank you. I hate to call Mr. Davis out, but I don't believe you were in here when we swore everybody in. Do you mind to stand up and do that, sir?
Mr. Davis, Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? There you go.
Thank you. I wasn't picking on you, but. Next item, please.
Next item is number 5. It's 5-G-25-RZ, request of Adam and Ashley Fernandez for rezoning from A, agricultural, to PR Plan residential, up to 2 dwelling units per acre. The property is located at 12321 Buttermilk Road. Parcel ID is 129-10901 in the 6th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Hi. If you'll give
Hello.
your name and address for the record, please.
Adam Fernandez, 12321 Buttermilk Road, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37932.
Thank you. I don't have anybody signed up. I don't see any opposition in the audience. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan Residential Zone up to 2 dwelling units per acre because the owner has 2 septic permits on the property.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez, would you like to speak to your project?
Sure, it's not, I don't know how much of a project it really is, but we've got my wife and I, we live in that primary home, and there's a detached garage on the sort of east side of the property, and we just, we found out that there was a septic tank there associated with a mobile home between 1996 and 2003. There was a mobile home there, and so there's a septic tank there off to the east, and we would like to convert that, just basically remodel the garage into a 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom dwelling for my mother-in-law.
Perfect. All right. Do we have any questions? Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question for Director Brooks or Director Snowden. Did Planning Commission have the authority to grant this approval per the growth policy language?
That is a good question, Commissioner. They did choose to move forward with this one. When we evaluated it, we do find that it doesn't meet the growth policy requirement for development in the rural area because it does not have sanitary sewer or a sewage system approved and maintained by a public utility company.
So should it not go back to Planning Commission before this body rules?
Planning Commission already approved it and sent it forward to you
So
all.
they just disregarded the growth policy language? Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Hill?
I can actually answer that because I was there, and what they did was they did a workaround because there was 2 septic tanks on the property. I don't see any other lights. I just want to say this is one where I actually did get a call from 2 of your neighbors, and they're not happy. I'm wondering, did you say in planning that this was going to be for your in-laws?
Yes.
Okay. And see, I have no issue with that sort of thing. I think that kind of thing should absolutely be allowed. Commissioner or Director Brooks, and I really have no objection if they use the existing structure that's already there. Is there any way that we can caveat this by not allowing another structure to be built on the property and merely so that we can be sure that it basically the footprint stays the same? And even that doesn't, I don't think that follows rural living. I don't really.
May I speak to that?
Yes.
I mean, we're limited to 2 dwellings an acre anyway. So even if we wanted to, we wouldn't be, this is not some situation where we can grow more. Even if I can't lie to you and tell you, oh, I want to bring my mother-in-law here, and then I'm going to get a multiplex in there. It's 2 dwellings an acre under planned residential, because it's 2 dwellings.
But you're currently zoned ag, though.
Right, under planned residential, it would be limited to 2 dwellings in 1 acre. The only issue is and I spoke to,
Ag is one.
I don't know how many hours I've spent on this, doing the research, but
That's what he's asking for.
really just the communication with staff and my own research, looking at the code. And I know the only issue, if you will, is that sanitary sewer component, which I think it's all about the intent, because I'm not developing anything. This is not some subdivision, of course.
And I
so-
agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just trying to follow my own statements, you know. So is it fair, Director Brooks, that your primary reason for turning it down was because of the inability to connect to sanitary sewer?
That is correct. So
All right.
staff was looking at the growth policy plan. I will say, Commissioner, that they will have to submit a development plan. They'll have to come back, because it's planned residential. And so to finalize all the approvals, they'll have to do a development plan that will be submitted to the Planning Commission. So that might address your concern
right.
related to the number of structures on the property.
All right, all right. And please don't understand, I don't really object. I'm just trying to follow, like I said, my own mouth about what I stated earlier. So given that, I'll make a motion to approve as requested to the 2 units per acre.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Hill and a second by Commissioner Jay. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for my own edification, I'm trying to understand, because it's agricultural, wouldn't Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez be able to build another unit on this anyways, but because it's planned residential, they're supposed to have sewer connection? Is that what you all are talking about? Yeah. So,
It's ag zone now, Commissioner Fox, and in the ag zone, it's essentially your density is 1 dwelling unit per acre. And he's essentially got 1 home on there, and he's wanting to convert this garage to an
Right.
apartment. So that would have been 2 dwelling units an acre. So
I thought that agriculture allowed 2 per acre. But
it allows 2 if you have 2 acres. But he doesn't have, he just has 1 acre.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Brooks, could this situation, because obviously zonings last in perpetuity, and so if you were to sell your property, it stays at PR up to 2, could this be resolved at BZA for a variance or connecting the garage apartment, whatever it may be, to existing septic?
I honestly, Commissioner, I'm not sure that I can speak to whether or not this can be resolved at a BZA. My first indication is no, but I might defer to Director Moyers or Director Snowden.
He did not. I mean, we have those, and Mike can speak to it. We have these lot intensity variances from time to time. I think they could consider it, but I guess the gentleman chose to go through the rezoning route first. So.
I mean, the answer is yes, the BZA could probably do it, but rezoning would be the preferable way to go, honestly. This is the job of the commission.
Okay.
And
All right, we have got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Hill and a second by Commissioner Jay. Commissioner Hill, do you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item, please.
Item number 6, 4-I-25-RZ is a request of True Line Land Surveying LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential. Properties located at 1311 West Beaver Creek Drive, parcel ID 056131 in the 7th Commission District.
Thank you. Hello. If you'll give your name and address for the record, please.
Desiree Elizabeth, the address is 1311 West Beaver Creek.
Okay. I don't have anybody signed up in opposition, and I don't see anyone in the audience. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and due to change of conditions in the area.
Thank you. Would you like to speak about your project?
I'm just rezoning to allocate. I own the property adjacent to it, and I'm giving the property to my existing house.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, I'll turn it over to District Commissioner Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you explain that again? I'm not really sure I
So-
understand what you're,
The house, the property right next to it, you can see the L-shaped house. So in order to shrink down the property of 1311, I have to rezone it to low-income residential. So when I shrink that down to just around the house on 1311, I will then 1307 will take the property, increasing the property value of my existing house. Does that make sense?
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make an emotion, I'll go ahead, unless there's got any other comments. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
I've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lee and a second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 7 is 4-0-25-RZ, request of Masana Investments LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to PR Plan residential up to 4 dwelling units per acre. Properties located at 8022 Hill Road, parcel ID 028-132 in the 7th Commission District.
Thank you. The applicant, please give his name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Scott Davis, P.O. Box 11315, Knoxville 37939.
Thank you. I don't have anyone signed up for this. There's no one in the audience. All right, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan residential zone up to 4 dwelling units per acre because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding area.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, would you like to speak to your project?
Now, I respectfully request you all approve as per MPC staff recommendation and as voted on by MPC unanimously. Were you just testing to see if I get struck by lightning? Is that what you're doing?
I mean, no. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, I'll turn this over to District Commissioner Lee.
Mr. Davis, we've had some scheduling difficulty trying to arrange a meeting, but I do have a lot of opposition because of Hill Road being a small road with a lot of traffic. Let me ask you this, could you live with 3?
And it's interesting, we come up here and it becomes a negotiation. And I'm not sure, when we have our staff, when we have a unanimous vote by MPC, and then we come to this body, and I want to commend Mr. Thompson. When we talked earlier today, we were able to work out some differences on a zoning that's coming up next. And I respectfully request if we can make it work at 3.5, Commissioner, if that's fair for you. Because I want to be, I want to try to make this work out for everybody. I want to make, everybody happy if possible, which is not always happy, everybody possible. But if you can agree to 3.5 units an acre, then we can make it work at 3.5.
I will say, Mr. Davis, just because of the amount of people that's been pressuring me not to have more than 2, my motion will be 3.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lee, and is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fox, and we have got discussion. Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Mr. Davis, would you be willing to conduct a traffic study?
Generally, as a general rule, I mean, as I deal to Mr. Snowden, usually I think, what is it, threshold is what, 70?
750 usually.
70 lots. Traffic impact studies cost $5,000, and then when you this number of units, it's generally not warranted.
The three-way stop, Andersonville, Hill, and McLeod, is it my understanding that there are plans to improve the realignment there? That would improve the backup and also improve safety?
Yes, Commissioner Frazier, there, at this location, at the intersection there at Hill, I don't have any really significant concerns. Most of the traffic would be going northbound and coming out and going southbound, so there really would need to be I wouldn't think a need for a left turn lane, but there are some issues that are down at Hill Road and Andersonville Pike and McLeod Road, and we are looking at trying to do a right turn lane northbound for McLeod Road, or from Andersonville Pike onto McLeod Road. And then possibly Hill Road comes in a pretty skewed angle, if anybody's familiar with it. It's kind of hard to see, so we're looking at trying to acquire a piece of property and realign that to make more of a 90-degree intersection. And as well as either potentially a four-way stop or maybe a small traffic signal at Andersonville at McLeod that should improve some of those conditions. They're not per se funded yet, but we are exploring them, and based on the scope of those improvements, that's some things that we might even could do discretionarily within our budget. So within the next couple of years, I do think that there'll be some improvements down at Andersonville Pike that would help both Hill and McLeod.
Because reading through the comments, that seemed to be the common thread, the concern there.
Oh, for sure. That's the challenge here because of the school, the Halls Elementary School queue backs up through there. So we do have some plans, and hopefully we'll make some improvements there in a little bit.
And also, isn't, I believe that Hill Road is on the state paving list for fall of 2025?
It is. I believe that'll be in front of this body next month, and hopefully will be paved, if not late fall, spring of next year, because it is in pretty poor shape, and we'll pave it from Andersonville Pike all the way to Norris Freeway, so the entirety of the road will be resurfaced.
Then also, some of the constituent concerns were potentially there being a TVA easement, which I understand that deed had been abandoned in the 1980s.
Well, we started looking at that further, and it looks like it still may be present. There's no facilities there, but I believe there's no line present. So Mr. Davis could maybe reach out to TVA, but it doesn't appear like there's a line present there.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, I do not have a comment for Mr. Davis, but I just wanted to share, every time I come up here for zoning, I learn something new and I do a little bit more research. And I love spreadsheets. And I think that this is an interesting spreadsheet that I came up with. And I looked at various subdivisions that have recently been sold out, and whether they were 2 per acre, 3 per acre, or 5 per acre, and then what the sales price of the lot was, and then also what the sales price of the ending house is. And if you look at about 5 to 6 per acre and sometimes 4 per acre, the end developer, not the Scott Davis, but the builder, the average square footage has been about 1,400 to 1,500 square feet at sales prices averaging between $283,000 and $292,000. However, when you ratchet it down to 2 per acre, the builder has to pay an additional, on average, $30,000 for the lot, and then also, in order to meet their profit margins, build a larger house, which would be on average about 2,500 square feet, for a sales price of $475,000 on average. So I think it's interesting that as we look at developments and we talk and we negotiate, there's a seesaw, there's a trade-off. And as we downzone from 4 to 3 to 2, we're making things less affordable because the end builder has to put, there's less houses there, so it's going to cost a little bit more for the lot, a little bit more for the development. And if you look at the, first house I had was less than 1,000 square feet. If you look at what is affordable today, $282,000 to $300,000 is fairly affordable for most. The $474,000, not so much. I'm not trying to sway anybody on this vote, but I just wanted to provide you some of the data from my rudimentary spreadsheet here showing how the trade-off with lower density equals higher price and a higher square footage house.
The homeowner or the consumer is always going to end up absorbing that additional cost. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate Mr. Davis taking the time because we did have, I felt like a good discussion over a couple different items on the agenda. But with this one, I think the understanding was that the TVA easement was going to be there, and there was property that you couldn't do anything with because of that easement. If Commissioner Lee, there was a condition I wanted to put on here, mostly on, it was a buffer. But in putting in the buffer, it would obviously, on the perimeter, take away some of the acreage that you would be able to use. So if you may end up in the same place, but I'd like to offer a substitute motion of 3.75 per acre, but with the condition that there is a minimum of a 30-foot non-disturbed buffer around the perimeter of the property. There's a lot of established trees and growth here. And from a development standpoint, it would probably be cheaper to leave it than it would be to clear it and then have to put it back. Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir. It's usually the case unless the topography doesn't allow for it, but we would be agreeable to your motion, yes, sir.
Okay. And a lot of times, when we're looking at buffers, they're like 15 feet, but when you have established, fully grown, 40-foot tall oaks and maples and things like that, you go in 15 feet, you're disturbing the roots. And by going out 30 feet, you're actually preserving the roots and the structure of those trees. So I would like to offer a substitute motion of that. But I think, obviously, in taking the 30 feet around the perimeter of the property, it does take away some of the acreage, but then in the end result would restrict some of the build-out density, so.
Second. I'd second that. Oh,
3 seconds.
I heard Commissioner Frazier first. All right, we have substitute motion, but we still have discussion. Are you done, Commissioner Thompson?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I read through the comments because there were a plethora of public comments made on this. I think there were, 30 public comments made. But the majority of them were specifically about the Hill Road at Andersonville Pike intersection that had little to do with this piece of property, but the traffic at that intersection. And after talking with Director Snowden, the future of getting that realigned and fixed and would address some of the safety concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Thank you. For clarification, Commissioner Thompson, 30 foot, are you talking all 4 sides of this property? What area are you?
I'm sorry. Yes, you have the RA zoning in front of there, which is not part of this application. So yes, a buffer for them as well, but the road frontage portion would not be included. So if you look at the aerial map, I'll take the zoning off.
Okay.
If you look at the aerial map, there's established vegetation around
I
the
got you.
perimeter. So if you
Okay.
just leave that,
Gotcha.
then Mr. Davis wouldn't have to reestablish that vegetative
Thank
buffer.
you. Yes, I can support that.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Lee, you alluded to a scheduling issue, because I know this was deferred from May, so there could be a community meeting. Did that take place?
No, it did not. We had a week of conference, and then I was out of town for a vacation, and then I've had a trial, so,
Okay.
no.
So I did see the public comment, but that's the only public comment session that there's been. We didn't miss a community meeting. I'm just confirming.
No, you didn't miss a
Okay.
community meeting, no.
Thank you. We have got a substitute motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson and a second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
All right, let's do a roll call. You just start with Commissioner Rawls.
Commissioner Rawls,
Aye.
Commissioner Darrett,
Aye.
Commissioner Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Russell,
No.
Commissioner Hill. Aye. Commissioner Lee. No. Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Fox, Commissioner Jay, Commissioner Frazier.
Aye.
8 ayes, 3 noes. Motion passes, 8 ayes, 3 noes. Best of luck with your project. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item, please.
Next item is number 8, it's 5-J-25-RZ. It's a request of Masana Investments LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to PR plan residential up to 5 dwelling units per acre, located at 7734 Majors Road, parcel ID 020160 in the 8th Commission District.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, name and address, please.
Scott Davis, P.O. Box 11315, Knoxville 37939.
Thank you. We do have opposition, so I will, do we have 2 oppositions? Are you Mr. Sanders? Okay, but you had spoke to Commissioner Thompson, right? I was trying to find you, and I knew there was somebody else, so, okay, we have 2. Thank you for standing up and speaking. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan Residential Zone up to 4 dwelling units per acre because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and compatible with surrounding development, subject to 1 condition.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, would you like to speak to your project?
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate your all's time. We developed the subdivision immediately adjacent to this property called Thompson Meadows. And when we developed Thompson Meadows, we were asked to provide 2 stub-out roads into this property. At the time, this property was not for sale. The family's owned this property for many, many, many years. The owner has now become ill. They're elderly folks, and nobody wants to farm it, so they have decided to sell the property. And I did meet with Commissioner Thompson, and we've spoken multiple times. And through this process, it was my understanding that the majority of, I don't want to say all the opposition, but a portion of the opposition was concerned about traffic coming onto Majors Road, and met with Mr. Thompson, and we have agreed not to provide any access to Majors Road, come through the existing stub out in Thompson Meadows. And I've met with Mr. Snowden. I think Commissioner Thompson has also spoken to Mr. Snowden, and there's 2 access points coming out of Thompson Meadows. And so we agreed not to provide access to Majors Road. And then Mr. Thompson and I spoke about, I don't want to, because the primary concern was access to Majors Road and increasing density on Majors Road, we have agreed that to the west of the creek area there that fronts Majors Road, to keep that agricultural and rezone the back portion of the property that adjoins Thompson Meadows.
Great. Thank you. First to speak is Mr. Sanders. Mr. or Mrs. Sanders? Okay. Mr. Mills? If you'll give your name and address for the record, please, you have up to 5 minutes to address commission.
Yes, ma'am. Jack Mills, Mills Guttering Construction, 7809 Majors Road where my business is, and I live at 7711 Majors Road. We have a problem with, as long as they don't bring the cars down Majors, I'm fine. There's no sight distance. When we built those houses where I live, next one to me, we had to take away some of my land for sight distance. It's fine, but seems sometimes rules don't apply to some people, but I'm glad that they're not gonna put no roads there coming out. I'm happy. But I'm getting excess water I live on 7711, but Mom and Dad's house, which I do take care of the farm, is at 7809 in that field. We're getting a lot of water. Every time it rains excessively, it floods that field out. And I just don't want no houses there at all. I know you have to compromise with big dogs since they are owned by Vanguard and Blackwater. D.R. Horton is, which he's a shell company of. And it makes me mad because the big dogs push us out. We moved there to get away from the big houses. I've been there since 75. And it's gotten to where the cars are getting unreal. You can't get on majors no more from Emory. But that's what I don't like. But if compromise is on the table, the lowest amount we could to put in there would be fine. But my gut feeling says no. We don't want that many houses and that noise that we have to put up with during the weekends. And you know what goes on. You know what type of house they build. You can go online and look at the complaints, what they build, what they come up with. And that's all I got to say before I get in trouble.
Thank you. And if you don't mind, you can grab Mr. Snowden's ear right there. Mr. Snowden, raise your hand. And just talk to him if there's anything that his guys can look at on your flooding. I'm not sure that there is, but that's who you would want to speak to.
We did have some flooding I've been there since 75. They call me the mayor of Majors Road. We've been there so long. The flooding only happened once in 93 when it rained for forever. But now, every heavy rain, the creek, the Kearns branch on my side, it just floods. It comes up 5 or 6 foot up in our fields. You know, that's quite a bit on 10 acres runs through there like that.
Well, Mr. Snowden is the one to talk to, and they can always come out and look for you and see if there's anything that the county can help with.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. It sounds like your commissioner has worked with the applicant, and you're going to get a good compromise. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a question for Director Snowden. I mean, do you think, well, he's occupied right now. I'll defer, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Thompson.
Well, I thought I'd be at the tail end of the line of comment, so
Well-
I just went ahead and turned my light on. This piece of property, I would like to commend planning staff and engineering for requiring the stub out from Thompson Meadows, because without that stub out, we would have quite the conundrum right now. But because that connectivity had a little forethought to it, although that piece of property and Mr. Davis expressed his frustration at the time, why am I having to put a stub out when these people don't want to sell their property? And well, now the property's for sale, and he's got the application on it. So I'd like to thank them for that. We had 50 public comments on this, and I've received multiple phone calls and emails, concerns about there's a vacant lot. There's a park at the end of the cul-de-sac that is obviously very frequented. It was mentioned multiple times in the public comments. The Coppic Road is very narrow. Majors is not a whole lot better, but there is no. It's almost a blind hill coming down Emory Road when you run into the intersection of Majors. So talking with Director Snowden, Director Brooks, and Mr. Davis, I tried to go through all of the public comments and the emails and find the little nuances of the concerns that people had. and address them as best we can. After speaking with Mr. Davis and Director Brooks, I think I've come up with a motion that would satisfy, we're not going to make everyone happy, but I think we found a good solution for this. I would like to make a motion. There will be several conditions. Now, in this, with no connectivity to Majors or Coppic, we're kind of negating the one condition that planning had. Am I correct, Director Brooks? If there's no connectivity to Majors, that condition now goes away?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. All right, thank you. Then I'd like to make a motion to rezone the area east of the eastern boundary of Carnes Branch floodway to PR up to 4.75 dwelling units an acre with the following conditions. There should be no vehicular access to Majors Road nor Coppic Road. There should be no vehicular access through the vacant lot adjacent to the cul-de-sac on Grasshopper Lane. Reserve and construct a pedestrian access from Grasshopper Lane to the nearest proposed street through the vacant lot adjacent to the cul-de-sac on Grasshopper Lane to access the community park via a 5-foot sidewalk inside a 10-foot permanent easement. Per Knox County Development Ordinance, there shall be an extension of sidewalks along the right side of Squirrel Run Lane from the intersection of Squirrel Run Lane and Gamebird Street to at least the first intersection in the future development plan. Vehicular access shall be connected and limited to Thompson Meadows subdivision via Squirrel Run Lane. A 15-foot Type B vegetative buffer shall be established or maintained along all adjacent properties with the exception of those along Thompson Meadows subdivision. Existing trees on property lines shall not be disturbed with the exception of necessary disturbances as required for the access to Squirrel Run Lane. The zoning for the area west of the eastern boundary of the Carnes Branch floodway, west to Majors Road and north to Coppic Road, shall remain agriculture. Future density of this area shall be limited to no more than 1 dwelling unit per acre. The intent of this rezoning, while preserving the character and natural resources of Carnes Branch along Majors and Coppic Roads by limiting development, is to concentrate density to the area with access to Thompson Meadows, which ultimately accesses Thompson School Road.
All right.
Second.
We have got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson and a second by Commissioner Frazier. Commissioner Thompson will be emailing those conditions to the clerk.
Correct,
So I
yes.
just want to make sure.
And the reason for those conditions was to give access from the new development to the existing park. The ordinance says that the current sidewalk ends at the first intersection within the subdivision. The ordinance states it has to extend, it'll extend beyond into the first intersection of the new development because they're now connected. But we think that accessing through Thompson Meadows at Squirrel Run Lane will get us, once they hit the first intersection out of the new development, now you have 2 access points. So that should work.
Do you still have a question, Commissioner Fox, for Director Snowden? No. No? Okay.
And
Commissioner Thompson, are you still? Okay. Commissioner Hill?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to meet with the developer and coming to a good compromise on this. I see exactly what you're doing there, and I mean, I think it's very commendable. So I appreciate your time and effort in that. Thank you.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How can you rezone part of a property? Is the other part just kind of, it seems like an ambiguous line. It just, yeah, if I remember the motion from Commissioner Thompson, it was rezone the part of the property east of something. Is that east of the creek? Is that an arbitrary line that somebody draws and then the other part stays the former zoning?
I wouldn't call it an arbitrary line. We have taken a look at it Commissioner Thompson's request. It's not unusual to have split zoning on a property.
Okay.
Commissioner Thompson, I commend you for being creative, and I also want to thank the developer for working with him. I think that's important to say, too. So we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, a second by Commissioner Frazier. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to, I guess, explain some of my rationale, because as Commissioner Jay said, it is a little creative. The main concern from the folks on Coppic and Majors was that they didn't want traffic, they didn't want the development. They the character there, the houses are on at minimum of 1 acre lots. Most of them are two or more acres. And so where planning had recommended 4 units an acre on the entire thing, if we just did PR up to 4 on everything, then you could, cluster the density wherever you wanted to. But now we just moved the density that would have been west of the creek, on the east side of the creek, and then left the rest of it at 1 unit an acre. So the applicant is still effectively getting the density that they were requesting, or that Planning Commission had recommended, but they're getting it where it's more suitable.
Very good. Commissioner Fox?
I did develop a question. What's going to happen to that little leg? It looks like there was going to be access to Majors Road between 2 tracks. You can see it up there. It's just going to be cut off?
That's an easement. It wouldn't be, the question here was, where do we get where do they get utilities from? And so it's either going to be through the vacant lot in the cul-de-sac. It could come from Majors, but it wouldn't be a vehicular access. So basically that would be part of the PR zone, but it wouldn't have vehicular access to Majors.
All right. No more questions on this. We've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project, Mr. Davis.
Thank you all for your time and service, and Commissioner Thompson, thank you again for working with us. Thank you all.
I'm going to ask Commission, do you want to try to forge on or take a 10-minute break? Forge. All right. That's it. Your chair may have to take a break, but, okay. Next item, please.
Item number 9, 5-M-25-RZ is the request of Noah Hudson for rezoning from A agricultural and CA general business to RA low-density residential. Properties located at 2217 Shipetown Road, parcel ID 042JD008 in the 8th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Hi, if you'll come down to the podium, please. If you'll give your name and address for the record.
John King, 2213 Shoptown Road, Mascot,
Okay.
37806.
All right. I don't have anyone signed up in opposition. Is there anyone in the audience? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development.
Thank you. Would you like to talk a little bit about your project?
The property was my mother's, and she passed away last year. So I live on one of the dwellings. So we was going to sell Mom's house, so we was wanting to split the property, so I'd have where I'm living and then be able to sell Mom's house separately.
Okay, thank you. And sorry to hear about your mom.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Seeing none, I will turn it over to Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, condolences about your mom. I know this isn't an easy decision and certainly not a process you expected to be in. I certainly don't have any objection with this. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we'll give that to Commissioner Frazier. Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner Frazier. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 10 is 5-G-25-PA is a request of Matthew Regas for a comprehensive plan amendment from RL Rural Living to RA Rural Agricultural. Property located at 8718 Mascot Road, parcel ID 052002 in the 8th Commission District.
Hello. If you'll give your name and address for the record.
How are you doing? My name is Fred Sisk. I'm here for Matthew Regas. He's out of town.
Okay.
And unable to attend.
Okay. It's nice to meet you.
My address is 1916 White Aram Lane, Knoxville 37922.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you. We don't have anyone signed up. Nobody's in the audience for opposition. So Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA Rural Agricultural Place Type due to an omission in the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Would you like to talk a little bit about the project?
It's just that he intends to build a home on it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Seeing no other questions, Commissioner Thompson?
I have no opposition to this either. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Is that Commissioner Jay? All right, I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner Jay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yep, don't go anywhere.
The next
Double header.
Item number 11, 5-R-25-RZ is a request of Matthew Regas also. It's rezoning from I industrial to RA low density residential. And I think the property description is the same as the previous item.
Thank you. No opposition. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA Low Density Residential Zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Want to add anything else? No? Okay.
Appreciate it.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't see any reason to delay. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right, got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, a second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Item 12, 5-P-25-RZ is a request of Brad Pruitt for rezoning from A agricultural to PC planned commercial. Properties located at 0 Asheville Highway, parcel ID 072002, part of, in the 8th Commission District.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins?
Yeah, Ben Mullins, 550 West Main Street, here for the applicant.
Thank you. Don't have anyone signed up, and I don't see anybody in opposition. Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PC Planned Commercial Zone because it's compatible with a neighboring parcel and is an extension of the PC zone as it in the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins, would you like to speak to the project?
Yeah, briefly, this one, you remember we were here last month on the abutting 126 acres where we removed some zoning conditions for a planned ball field, RV park, and other commercial development. This is intended to be the part of the phase 2 of that as it would expand. This parcel is actually 8.5 acres. It's only the top 5.13, which is zoned ag. The bottom portion's already zoned CA. It's adjacent to PC, and the place type there is that corridor commercial, where planned commercial is directly related to the corridor commercial place type. And we're asking to extend that planned commercial zoning to this parcel, so when we move forward with a development plan and want to start to expand what is intended to be a very multi-million-dollar investment in the county in this area, this property would be part of that, and those development plans would have to move forward through Planning Commission with a development plan at the time. The only quirk to this is it was not recommended by planning staff for approval. It was recommended denial for a couple of reasons. I want to just touch on that. Planning Commission voted 12-1 to approve it. At the time of the rezoning, the planning staff, the development plan for the RV park and the ball fields had not been approved. approved yet by Planning Commission, so there was not technically a change of conditions at the time. That has been approved now, so that change in condition is in place, and that was something that planning staff talked about. The other concern was it is pretty steep topographically, and there was concern about disturbing the hillside areas in that. Of course, under the ag zone now, its highest and best use under the agricultural zone would be for its timber value, and every bit of that could be disturbed. But moving that to a planned commercial zone would at least allow any potential future development to come back through Planning Commission for a development plan and part of an overall grand scheme, how that is going to be tied into the development to the east and what is planned to the west. So, I'm happy to answer any questions, but, changing this to a planned commercial zone that would have to come back through with a development plan that is directly related to the corridor commercial place type that Advanced Knox placed on it, I think makes a lot of sense, and I asked you to approve per Planning Commission's recommendation.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Mullins? Commissioner Fox?
What kind of drainage consequences, given the hillside and all that, and the impact on this Fawver Creek, have you investigated that at all?
No, not yet, not the rezoning. That's the reason a planned zone makes sense, because those drainage considerations would be something that would have to be kind of fleshed out and engineered once you went back through Planning Commission with a development plan. Whereas if it stays ag, somebody could go there and just start taking the trees out, and they'd have to get a grading permit and things potentially for that. But, there'd be a lot less oversight with its current zoning than the zoning we're asking for.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking at the development plan, it does not have this property included in it, correct?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So why is this portion so critical that we rezone this one?
I think it is the kind of the first step. I think they're in process of looking what to do. The property to the kind of northeast that is in that RC. They're talking to University of Tennessee about maybe partnering with them for some kind of tying in some potential educational opportunities. We're talking to Legacy Parks. They're looking at maybe expanding some of that business. And so this one, just because it already had the place type in place, that corridor commercial, they want to go ahead and move forward with the rezoning for planned commercial, because that really is kind of a gateway into that other property. So it allows them, once they know they can do this, to kind of look more intently to future plans.
Okay, but just along Asheville Highway, beneath this, it's already zoned commercial, and they own all of that below it.
I'm not sure exactly how much of that they own yet, or how much they are looking toward. I frankly haven't studied that portion of it, but they're just looking at this one parcel, which they do have under control as far as going and get the rezoning, so they can look forward towards their plans.
Right. Okay. It seems like all this is still very early in the process.
Which is why planned zone makes complete sense, because then whatever they do would have to come through with plans. Yes, sir.
Right. I'd have a hard time greenlighting this at this point without seeing the rest of it, but to where this is really critical, because that is, if not, it's steep, if not the steepest part of the entire property. I'm a little.
If you have some concerns, why don't I suggest we postpone this, and maybe we can get the applicant to kind of talk through what they intend to do. They would be able to address that maybe better than I could right now. And if you want to postpone that for 30 days and have a chance maybe to get the people together to speak on that, I'd be happy to facilitate that.
I mean, I'd be fine with that. I'm just
If
looking at the entire
concerns, I
property, and because I know, they discussed Mr. Fawver's property beyond this, and obviously along the riverfront, you'd have access to get to the other property. So,
but then you'd be kind of going around this, and so they want to make sure they can include this.
But if they include this, you'd still be going around it unless you drop it. And and the hillside protection was kind of there for a reason to keep from dropping it.
Well,
So you're not going through it, you're actually going around it.
and again, I don't know exactly what is planned. I know the hillside protection isn't codified by the county. It's, but the plan.
It's advisory. I
advisory.
understand that, sure.
And again, what exactly those plans are, I can't tell you what that is, but I know by doing to the planned commercial zone instead of trying to extend the CA zone, both of which are directly related to the place type, would allow those plans, so it would be transparent in a public process, which is why they asked for that. But if you have some concerns about that, and I understand that, be happy then to postpone and may have a larger conversation about that with the applicant and what they intend.
Okay.
How long would you like to postpone?
I mean, 30 days is fine.
Does that give enough time, Ben, on 30 days?
I think so. I mean, if we
Yeah,
need to, if we need to
will that
extend
give you
it.
enough time, or do you need 60 days, or?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your schedule and the applicant's schedule. Let's start with 30 days, and if we have to push it another 30 days, I don't think that would be a problem. Nothing is immediate. I think it's just, this was property they already had under control, a place type that was already in place for a directly related zone, so they wanted to move forward just in property they already had completely secured to get it in place. So let's do 30 days, and if we can't, because of scheduling issues, can't get it lined up before then, we can look at something longer.
Okay.
Okay. We've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson to postpone for 30 days. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give that to Commissioner Rawls. All right, I've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner Rawls. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have no amendments, no public forum, other business. Please don't forget that Monday, we have the 1 o'clock. I believe, Drew, it is in the small assembly room. That is going to be the time. By that point, all the commissioners should have been able to meet with Mr. Vandevate and the mayor. And so questions, but there could be last minute questions. I believe we'll have DCS there also, per Commissioner Hill. So, please try to make sure that you make it to that. Does anybody else have anything? Seeing none? Do that Monday. We are adjourned.